For decades, we've thought about global power as a kind of arms race. Who's got the better tech, the faster jets, the smarter weapons? But what if the whole point isn't to win that race, but to make the entire race completely irrelevant? Today, we're diving into a strategic idea so radical, it flips everything we think we know about power completely on its head. Okay, so let's start right here. January 26, 2026. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says this, and it makes headlines everywhere. His point is simple. We have to restrict AI chip exports. We have to contain the technology. And, on the surface, that sounds like the only logical move, right? Why would you give your advantage away? And look, he's not wrong to be concerned. That's a totally valid, traditional way of looking at strategic competition. But what if it's the wrong move? What if there's a much more powerful, more subtle strategy at play? What if the goal isn't to deny your adversary technology, but to control the entire system they need to run it on? And that brings us to a concept that's as old as war itself, but it's been completely reimagined for the digital age. We're talking about the art of the strategic trap. You've heard this one before, right? The legendary strategist Sun Tzu said it best, like 2,500 years ago, and that ancient piece of wisdom is the absolute key to understanding the wild modern doctrine we're looking at today. So how does a trap like this even work in the 21st century? Well, it's this elegant, almost deceptively simple four-step plan. Step 1, you let your adversaries buy your most advanced blockchain-verified chips. Step 2, you actually encourage them to pour billions into building their own AI infrastructure using your tech. Then, Step 3, in 2028, the trap springs. And here's the kicker. Step 4, their massive investment, the very capability they built to compete with you, becomes your leverage. It just turns the whole idea of competition inside out. To really get why this works, we have to go back to that powerful nuclear weapon analogy, and we have to completely dismantle it, because it's a 20th century idea trying to explain a 21st century reality, and believe me, that difference changes everything. So check this out. The difference in the technology itself is what matters. A nuclear weapon is a self-contained box. It's a fire-and-forget device. Once you hand it over, you've lost all control. Gone. But an AI chip is the exact opposite. It's totally 100% network dependent. It needs infrastructure, a visible supply chain, constant data flows to do anything. And because it's part of a network, you can monitor it, you can influence it. That dependency, that's the lever of control. And this chart, man, it just lays out the two futures so clearly. On the left, you've got the old containment strategy. What happens? Your adversary goes dark, develops their own tech in secret, and you have zero visibility, zero leverage. Now, look at the right, the golden dome strategy. Your adversary becomes dependent. You get full supply chain oversight. And the end game? Total network hegemony. So you really have to ask yourself, which of these two worlds actually gives you more power? A world where your rival is building something you can't see, or a world where they're building inside a system that you ultimately control?
Okay, so this is it. This is the moment that reframes every single thing we've talked about in this series. We're about to pull back the curtain on the real purpose of the Golden Dome project.
Think back. We looked at the massive infrastructure build in Greenland, the Warden AI, that SM-39 Razor swarm. And yeah, it all looks like some next-generation Arctic defense system. But that's not what it is. That's not its true purpose at all. That was the cover story. The official story is totally believable. Arctic defense, infrastructure investment, jobs, countering rivals, it all checks out. It looks like a classic, smart defensive move. It's the perfect cover. But that was never the real mission. The actual goal is so much bigger, so much more ambitious. It was never about defense. It was about control. And here is how all those pieces we talked about actually fit together. Greenland isn't a defensive outpost. It's the central hub for a global network. Those Arctic cables, they're not just for communication. They're for controlling the flow of data. The nuclear reactors aren't just for power. They're to fuel absolute computational dominance. The Warden AI isn't a shield. It's designed to absorb and monitor other networks. And the SM-39 swarm, that's the physical enforcement. That's the muscle to back up the network's rules. This all leads to this core idea, network hegemony. It's the strategy of controlling the foundational layer that everything else has to plug into. And in this world, when your enemy spends billions building out their capabilities, they're actually just making your central position stronger.
They're building the spokes, you own the hub.
So, if this is the new reality, what does that even look like? What are the new rules of power when a strategy like this is actually in play? And this isn't some far-off theory. It's a deliberate, multi-year plan that's happening right now. We are currently in phase 1, which runs through 2028. It's called the foundation phase, or let them build. Then, in 2028, we hit the inflection point. That's when the trap springs. And from 2031 onward, the goal is total network control. We are just 2 years away from that critical pivot.
This slide just puts the whole paradigm shift side by side. The 20th century was all about containment, about arms races, about thinking in zero-sum terms. If they win, we lose. The 21st century reality is about control through dependency. And the most mind-bending part is the last one. Your enemy's capability becomes your leverage.
Okay, but I know what you're thinking. What about the risks? Number 1, what if they just unplug? Well, the estimated switching cost is over $500 billion and a decade of playing catch-up. It's basically economically impossible. 2, what if they try to weaponize the AI they build on the system? That's what the SM-39 Razor is for, Mach 4 physical enforcement. And 3, what if the blockchain verification just isn't enough? Well, that is the final, brilliant piece of this puzzle, and we'll break that down next time. So what this all boils down to is a strategy that's not trying to play the old game better. It's not about winning an arms race. It's about creating a system that makes the whole idea of that race obsolete. And that's really the profound choice that a doctrine like this puts on the table. Do we keep pouring trillions into the same old contest, trying to win the same old race? Or do we find the courage to change the game completely, and for the first time in history, make the race itself irrelevant?